You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls, and today we're going to continue our season previews, this time with Ayo Dosunmu. We're also going to talk about the trade that sent Jrue Holiday to the Celtics, and last, AK announces the player development department. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. Pat, man, it's Media Day. So we're going to have tons of content coming out of Media Day. I can't wait to see how AK is going to gaslight us this year.
I'm adding to player development. This guy.
But with that said, man, we are going to continue our player profiles as far as predictions for the season. But before we do that, I do got to tell you guys that today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Now, Pat, we've previewed just about everybody on the roster. I was really the last member of the roster who we haven't done a preview on that's kind of expected to at least be in the 10-man rotation. Now, I will say this, like, I don't know how consistent those minutes are going to be for him initially. We know that he had a sophomore slump of a season, took a step back in shooting percentages, things like that. He comes now into this season where Jevon Carter, IK did say on 670 Score that it's going to come down to him, Jevon Carter, and Kobe White all competing for the starting point guard position. What are your personal expectations for Ayo Dosunmu this season?
Fight for a spot. And be ready, because I don't think he's going to be getting any minutes to start the season. I think it's redundant at this point. The thing that I needed you to become, Jevon Carter is, and I just signed him to play. So be ready, be prepared. Injuries do pop up. I think there will be opportunity for you to get into the game at some point, but I think at the start of the season, he won't be a part of the core. He won't be a part of what the Chicago Bulls are trying to put out there. I think that Ayo Dosunmu is a major piece of our last topic, that player development department, because there's talent there that can be developed, that can be nurtured, but you also have to be able to do it out on the basketball court, right? And so for me, I see Ayo as a nice piece, as what I wanted him to be his rookie year. I just don't see where he fits into this rotation. Even if you're playing, where are you going, like backup 3, maybe? That's the only thing I can think.
Where I see Ayo probably getting a lot of minutes is playing backup, playing the 3 this year. And, you know, I mean, it's similar size and wingspan and things to DeMar DeRozan. So, you know, I mean, it can keep some of the same things going. DeMar also isn't a threat to stretch the floor. So, I mean, maybe there. But like I said, Ayo's going to be part of the 10-man rotation, but keep in mind, Derrick Jones Jr. was also part of the 10-man rotation. There's times where we didn't see him for a week, and then we see him 3 straight games. And I think Ayo is going to be in a similar role to that, unless he really comes out in those minutes and proves himself once again to be so good defensively that he has to be played.
Yeah, I don't see him as a. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that he proves me wrong. That's what I hope for all the players. I hope Patrick Williams becomes a 25-point per game guy. I hope all the miracles break the way we want to. But as we know from yesterday's Bears game, that rarely happens in Chicago. But realistically, when I look at Ayo Dosunmu, I see guys that replace you, right? I'm not going to put you as a backup 2. I got Alex Caruso already if I need that defensive guy. Backup 1, I got Jevon Carter as that defensive guy that can shoot the 3 ball. I've got options at just about every position. Find where you fit in, very much like you did your rookie year. Unfortunately, you're back to square one to me. I think that, you know, you put Ayo to me in a situation very much like Kobe White was in his first year or second year in Chicago.
Second year, yeah.
Where now you got to be a point guard, and you really have never actually been a real point guard. You've been more of a scoring point guard, but we need you to be an actual point guard. And that's not what you are. And so you got to be able to adjust your game on the fly. Ayo is not. It knocks you back down. It knocked Kobe White back down. Kobe White's been able to work his way back up, and the Bulls have stuck with him through this. And to me, I like that stuff. I like that you want to develop homegrown talent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Io, like I think Io has to get back to, and in a way, it's kind of freeing, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, your minutes aren't going to be as consistent theoretically, but the fact is, when you get in the game, you just got to go out there and do what's naturally you, right? When you are put in the game, much like Derrick Jones, you just go out there and play your game. And I hope that one thing as well with Io being kind of in that second unit. That's going to be a team that can get turnovers, that I think is going to be better playing at a fast pace, and those are areas where Iowa is the strongest at. So he has to finish around the rim better than what he did last season, because there was a lot of missed bunnies there for him last season.
The open layups for Iowa is but the contested is a bucket. If it's a hand in his face,
about it was
if it's a hand in Io's face, it's an up and under lay bucket. Like, was that Derrick Rose right there? Is that who that was?
It was so crazy. But Io, them giving him the deal and giving him a 3-year deal to me is saying this. We're gonna see what you have. We want to see how you're gonna develop. We're gonna give you this time. And like we talked about when he signed it, it's a very easily movable deal. And that's not to say that Io, if it doesn't work out here for the Bulls, if he does fall out the rotation, kind of never gets back in, he could go to another team depending on what the expectations are around that team and have a bigger role. Like I still believe in what Io does well. And I realize that what Io does well, as long as he does it consistently, he's gonna have a job in the NBA. But it's just, what level is that gonna be? So
with Io, if there's one thing that you can see return to his game that we saw his rookie year, what would you want to see?
Point of attack defense. And pick and roll defense. His pick and roll defense his rookie year was it was him and Alex Caruso. It was him, Alex Caruso, and I think DeJounte. Was that it? It was like point guards who pick and roll defense were out there with the best of it.
Yeah.
And his pick and roll defense took such a step down last year. That's what I kind of want to see Io get back to. The 3-point shooting, what was he, 40-something%?
It was decent, but it was on it was that Larry Bird 3-point percentage. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh man, he's shooting at 50% from the field. Oh, he's taking 2. So he made 1 out of every 2.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
Listen, on this team with how much 3-point shooting we lack, I mean, listen, it made sense. But yeah, I mean, I think first defensively, and getting out in transition, forcing turnovers. That's what I want to see from Io first up, and then we'll see what happens, what he can do, and build off of it from there.
It's so weird because you thought the ascension was going to come last year after he just made an instinctual play to be right spot in that Atlanta game on the game winner. Like, you're like, okay, that'll be the spark. That'll get us back moving the right direction. Let's go. Let's get this thing. And then the season last year, no disrespect, but man, don't sign with CHG. No, I'm just playing. But
listen,
the second Cole did have a solid game. You know what I mean? But a lot of losses attached to that. Now, I'm just playing. Y'all know I love y'all boys over there. But no, at the end of the day, to me, Io to me was it was a shock how bad he was last season. And I think that he's better than that, but I think the position he's put himself in is you have to absolutely prove it all to me again.
Yeah. Yeah. One solid season, one questionable season. Now, what do you go out and, like you said, he's really building it from the ground up again. You got to make your hang your hat on your defense, and then whatever comes from that comes from that. Am I frozen?
Yeah. You are frozen. Oh, no, you're not frozen. Your internet been tweaking all day, bro.
Bro, I don't know what's going on.
That's
only when I'm in StreamYard.
Literally, call him out on the pod. Call him out on the pod right now. Who's your provider?
Spectrum?
Who's your internet provider?
Spectrum. I got gigabyte internet too, so like it's usually fast. I don't know what's going on.
You struggled to get that word out. That gigabyte was a big word for you.
Well, because it's supposed to be gigabit. Yeah, it's supposed to be gigabit, and my brain, mid word, it was like, "Hey, man, you're not about to say that right. You really about to say the wrong word."
You had a stroke halfway through. I'm just making sure. Are you okay, sir? Are you okay?
Anyway, white man.
Same amount of white as you. Exact same.
Nah, that DNA balance is a little bit off.
Actually, you're more because you actually was over there. We was on the south side of Chicago the whole time. Hey, whatever.
What are you talking about?
That culture. That's that culture.
So having culture is a negative thing? Is that what we're saying? You cultured swine.
You cultured swine. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Cultured swine.
Cultured swine.
Sick of this.
That's hilarious. Next up, we're going to be talking about the trade that sent Jrue Holiday to the Boston Celtics. And Bulls fans, I don't know if you saw it on your timeline, had a meltdown for about 2 hours. And then they kind of moved off of it because the Bears suck. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about Game Time. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all your sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you a complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see and view your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total upfront, so you know what you're getting, a great deal without hidden fees. Buy tickets in seconds in 2 taps. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code at LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, Pat. So, one of the pieces that were left hanging after the Dame Lillard trade was where Jrue Holiday was going to go. Now, I talked about over on Chicago Bulls Central that had he went to a team like the Miami Heat, that affects the middle of the pack of the East. If he goes to a team that's kind of higher up there with bigger expectations, the middle of the pack pretty much stays the same. He goes to the Boston Celtics. They trade Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, 2 unprotected first-round picks for him. So that brings the total that the Portland Trailblazers got for Dame Lillard so far, because they've already said they may be looking to flip Malcolm Brogdon by the trade deadline. They're going to hold on to Robert Williams, but they've now gotten 3 unprotected firsts. They've gotten 2 pick swaps. They got DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams out of that. Malcolm Brogdon too for now, but like I said, they've already said that they plan on moving him later on. What do you think about the trade?
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
They got a lot back for Jrue Holiday.
True, and that's why, Bulls fans, some Bulls fans, when I posted the video talking about the Dame trade, they were like, "Well, we could have matched it. They gave up 1 first-round pick and 2 pick swaps. We could have matched that." And I had told people but they're going to flip Jrue, and you have to add that to what you also are getting for Dame. And listen, they got more unprotected first for Jrue than what they got for Dame. That's crazy.
Yeah, I like here's the thing. To me, Boston has to go harder because they have the pieces already, right? Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. You signed Jaylen Brown. He's going to be there. You're going to sign Jason Tatum to his extension as well. He's going to be there. It's like 600, almost 700 and something million.
I don't know. The man's about to get paid. No, it's crazy. Like 700 million.
No, between the two of them. Between the two of them.
Between the two of them,
yeah. It's like 700 something.
650, something like that. Yeah.
It's crazy out here. Like wild money for 2 dudes that can't go left. But anyway, right? You go out, you get a point guard that can go left. And realistically, to me, you're in a position where all in makes sense. Plus, you have so many draft picks that it makes even more sense for you in that conversation, because you still know that whether this works out or not, I've still got draft capital in the room. The Bulls don't have that option. The Bulls, they have their draft capital in the room, but you don't want to spend your draft capital. If anything, right, the trade that we were talking about was just releasing the protection on the Portland pick and maybe trading that back to them and letting them be able to have that, right? So for me, I like that the Bulls didn't go all in on this. I like that the Celtics did, because it shows me that they really feel like, Ayo, we were 1 point guard piece away. And I think literally everybody else was like, y'all 1 point guard piece away. I like Marcus Smart. I really did. I think he's a great point of attack defender, one of the best in the NBA. But he's not
set the identity for that team.
Set the identity, but to me, he's not the piece that you were going to throw out there and he was going to separate what Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum needed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you get a veteran. You get who's just as good defensively, basically, as Marcus Smart, has more offensive upside, and he's won a title before. So, he's not going to be afraid to kind of tell these guys what they need to do. And so now you've basically you moved Derek White to the bench, who's been a pretty good bench player for them as well. Their bench is very thin now. Outside of that, they are very top heavy with their starting 5.
Well,
and then
so's Derek White's hair. So,
he cut it. Remember? He finally cut it.
That's right.
Derek White finally he embraced it. You didn't see it?
Oh, it is in here, ain't it? Ain't that, is that? Oh, no, that's not my bad. That was Trey Young if he cut it.
Speaking of, you didn't respond to the Natalie Nunn text I sent you because she looks just like Eustace Page. You didn't see the text I sent you?
Bro, bro, wait a minute. Why'd I look at that on here? Bro, I saw it yesterday, but I was so furious at everything else. And like I was also going on the radio the second you sent me this, bro. My God, bro. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, bro. She do look like Eustace Baggs. That's
she looks
crazy.
just like Eustace Page, bro. That's funny. But
that's crazy.
But yeah, so the Boston Celtics, the biggest question there is that bench. You look at them now, starting 5 of Jrue Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps, and Al Horford. Do you think they start those guys together? I think they kind of have to.
I think you have to.
And then other than that, you got Derek White coming off the bench, Peyton Pritchard, who played some minutes for them but wasn't amazing either, Lamar Stevens, Brissett. That's it. The bench is very thin.
Yeah. Especially knowing, right? Like, I mean, Luke Cornett's getting some minutes, right?
Yeah, Luke Cornett's definitely
going to get some minutes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's really what we're heading towards. Just him just jumping straight up, like,
that's
in the middle
funny,
of the
bro.
He cracks me up. He's like 7 feet tall. And the day it works, he's going to look like a genius. But
it did work that one game.
He got it to work once.
I don't remember seeing before it got to the it worked in one game, and it was like, bro, that's crazy to me. That's crazy.
You know, the proof that
every dog has their day. Like,
I'd be so mad if he blocked my shot like that. He like this big, but no, I
and they also signed Winning Gabriel as well. So they did add some size there. Who he played for the Lakers, played a nice role for off the bench for them. I mean, when you can see him, he has to smile the whole time on the court for you to see him. But
that's crazy. Yeah, no, I listen. They're going all in on the starting unit, and they're basically taking the LeBron approach to it. Right? We got good enough players that if we just put some people out there, they'll survive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure they're going to be trying to be active at the buyout. They're going to really anybody who gets bought out this season. I'm sure they're going to be trying to add to that bench.
Yeah. Don't be surprised. That Celtics are going to be an interesting team. I think the most interesting part is, right, can you get Kristaps at that perfect time? If you can get Kristaps, like play 68 games last year, something like that. If you can get Kristaps when he's finally hitting a little bit of a stride health-wise, and get him through a playoff run with Jrue Holiday, that might be the combination.
Yeah.
That might be
65 games played for Kristaps last year, the third most in his career and the most he's played since his second year in the league. Now, so that's clearly now with the moves that have been made. Bucks, Celtics, who do you view as the biggest threat to come out the East?
I think the Bucks are still incredibly deep.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at their bench, like the fact that you can go right when you get into the playoffs, you're going 7 deep.
Yeah.
During the season, it is what it is, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that you can go from, Brooke Lopez, bring in Bobby Portis, you still right. Like I still think that the Bucks team and the Bucks do a good job of developing their young guys. Who's the young guy they got? Marjon Beauchamp, who I think me and you both saw him last season and were like, this guy's got some game. So the fact that you're able to hold on to Beauchamp, you're developing this young player. You still can go out there, of course, starting it off with Dame and Giannis and Chris. It makes Chris Middleton, to me, be the role that he should have been the entire time so that he can be Chris Middleton, right? But he's the elite defender on the team now. He's your guy that's going to be able to go out there and he's going to be guarding the best players every single night. So I think that the Bucks, to me, are still a better team in this situation. I like what Boston's done, but I just don't trust it, honestly. Like I got to see it. That's really all it is. Not that I don't trust it. I just got to see it.
When you look at the weaknesses of both teams, we know that the Boston Celtics we just talked about, have a pretty thin bench, but the Milwaukee Bucks are also thin as far as perimeter defense, right? Especially if they face a team that has a lot of scoring out there in the perimeter.
Yeah.
What do you think may be exposed the most?
I think Milwaukee's mindset is if you beat us by shooting 53s, we'll live with that. And when you think about how the Miami Heat beat them, a lot of threes and Jimmy. and Jimmy. But
Jimmy.
everybody else,
all
everybody else contributed was 3-point shooting, right? Like a lot of that's been Milwaukee's philosophy. And maybe Adrian Griffin changes that. I do want to see how that's going to end up being, but that's been Milwaukee's philosophy for a while. If you knock down 33s today, you'll beat us. But you got to knock down 33s because there's nothing that's going to happen inside of that paint. So I don't even think Milwaukee's really worried about having a ton of perimeter defense because like you're not going to leave it wide open, but at the end of the game, if I need to have Giannis come off of a screen and put a hand in your face, I got that.
Facts. No. So I guess we'll see. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and move into the last topic for today and talk about the player development staff and that team, that whole department now, which AK's filled out completely. But I want to remind you guys that Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube and the Odyssey app. Now, with that said, Pat, so we know that we hired Peter Patton last season as the head of player development, which I guess was the title at the time because he had no staff. He was the head of one. He was the guy. But now they also added earlier this offseason Austin Default. They now have also to him they've added Peter Crawford, Jake Burkowski, Daniel Roy, and Zoe Lamb, all to the player development staff. Now Zoe Lamb is a massage therapist, so yeah, hey, shout out to that the players go there, develop and work out the kinks there. But yeah, how do you feel about the overall announcement of the player development staff?
I'm proud of us for staying away from every Cleveland quarterback joke that we could have on that. Anyway, but I like the fact that the Bulls are going player development based. Listen, the teams that do it long term develop players. That's just no matter what, right? Can you win for a season without doing that? Sure. Lakers did it, right? You go out, you buy everybody. Can you win for a season if you go get the best players in the NBA? Sure, Miami did it. Same concept as the Lakers, basically. Like, yes, you can win. You can be one of the best in the league. You can be competitive, but it's not long-term success. Can we really call the Lakers a dynasty? Or not the Lakers, I'm sorry. Can we really call Miami a dynasty?
No.
They did win back-to-back, I guess, in that sense. Like, there was a moment.
The Heatles?
The Heatles, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they made it to 4 finals in a row. So,
but when you talk about those dynasties, right? You talk about those long-term teams, the Bulls, the Lakers, the Celtics, the Warriors right now with what you're seeing with Stephen Curry and stuff like that. To me, when you have success like that, you're able to continue to develop within. You're able to find that next guy. The Chicago Bulls were excellent at it in the 90s, right? Like you think about it now, granted, there was no lottery. So
yeah,
we did end up with like 2 first-round picks. That was kind of crazy.
True. That's true.
It was kind of insane that we got Stacey King. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, people forget. Like I know Stacey King didn't have he didn't have a Hall of Fame NBA career, but people forget like Stacey King was a high-level prospect.
Stacey King thing there could have been. He could have been argued as the number 1 pick, bro. Like that's how much of a scorer he was in college, bro. Maybe I'm hyping that up a little much. But who was the number 1 pick that year? Where'd Stacey go? Stacey was top 10, right?
That's way too long.
Stacey was top 10, right? Paul,
I don't know. Crazy. I'm not even gonna fake like I know. This is one of the things. I'm not even trying to. I don't remember, bro. I was barely born. I was barely a human at that point in time, so I don't know.
1989 draft. No, but to me, Stacey was the 6th pick in the draft.
He was the 6th over. That's
Stacey
crazy.
King was the 6th overall pick in the draft. It's pretty good.
Purvis Ellison was the number 1 overall pick that year.
So I was right. He could have went number 1.
Yeah, he probably should have went number 1. Probably should have went number 1. But yeah.
Hey, bro, the only player better than J.R. Reed. J.R. Reed and Glenn Rice.
Yeah, I was about to say Glenn Rice too in that draft.
Those are the only 2 players better than Stacey King in that draft.
Is he the only player in the top 10 that won a title?
Oh, no, that's actually crazy. Never mind. I take that back. Sean Kemp took 17th. Tim Hardaway went 14th.
Oh, yeah, Sean Kemp should have been number 1 overall. Then we got Stacey and BJ in the same draft?
Yeah. That's what we got. That's why they started the lottery.
Yeah.
because we got BJ Armstrong and Stacey King. Oh, by the way, and you developed them and they turned into really good players for the Chicago Bulls. That's how you have that long-term success to me. That's how you have the 10 years, the 20 years of success. That's how you see the Spurs continue to be able to go out there and stay competitive, right? Like you have to be able to develop these guys, whatever we want to say, right? Everybody can be like, oh, well, the Spurs didn't win a lot of games. DeJounte Murray still was a really, really freaking good player with the Spurs. Yeah. They weren't really focused on winning long-term at that point. So to me, this is a statement of we're not trying to win just today. We're trying to win long-term. I love this by the Chicago Bulls.
Agreed. And I'm glad that the Bulls are invested in it. Like, and this is why I do think that the Bulls, and I said this over on Central, is that the Bulls are going to be very protective over first round picks. I'm not saying that there's an impossibility that they trade some depending on what level of talent they get back, but I think now that you're going to see them get back to what AK talked about when he first took over, building organically through the draft and development. And because of that, they are going to be very, very protective over their first round picks and future assets, because now they have the team, the staff that can focus on that development. And they're going to hope that they uncover some gems in that area.
Let's hope so, man. I'm really big on, right, like investing in your own, keeping your homegrown talent, all of that. And I think that the teams that can do that successfully find a way to eventually be champions. Yeah, I mean, heck, how many of us wouldn't want to be OKC right now? Like what they've done at that team, you
Listen,
find.
I just want their coach, bro. Like I would love having their coach right now, bro.
Here's the best thing: we just know he's good. Still don't know his name.
Yeah, it's a weird name.
Ain't it Nick something? Ain't it like Nick?
It's something. I don't know.
Artematavitas or something like that. Like I don't know. I don't know what's the best.
But he's a hell of an offensive. Like that dude can draw up a damn offensive thing. I don't know.
Dagnall. Yeah. Now that might be the American way to say it. Y'all know I told you who I wanted, bro. If the Bulls actually end up needing a new coach and moving on from Billy Donovan at some point, James Wade's in the NBA now, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, bro.
James Wade is one of the best tacticians.
I know a lot of people aren't going to understand that because not everybody watches the WNBA, but James Wade has been the best basketball coach in the city of Chicago for 5 years.
Bro, how he calls up an out-of-bounds play is magnificent, bro. Phenomenal. So,
and his defensive adjustments. Like he literally sometimes some of the worst defenders. And I don't know. James Wade is just a great coach.
He's a really good coach.
I'm glad he's getting his opportunity. And he didn't even get hired just as the assistant. He's the lead assistant for the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
That means that, there are going to be a lot of eyes. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a head coaching job in the NBA within the next 2 years.
Out. 2 might be a little quick for me.
2's a little quick for you?
2 might be a little quick for me because of the politics of it. Right, you got to think
true.
When
That's
jobs
true.
open up, you're gonna go to former head coaches first. You're gonna look at, I mean, like, but I think Chicago could have an opportunity to be like, hey, we suck right now. If we do suck, hopefully we don't. Let's have a good season. But we suck right now, James Wade. So I don't know, man. I like it. I like the situation. I like where my team is heading towards. I know the game by game. We're gonna sit here, break it down. We're gonna be critical. We're gonna hate a lot of what we see. But the fact that my organization looks like an organization.
Yeah.
That excites me.
This time last year, we were talking about the Bulls not having a shooting coach, much less a player development staff, right? So,
bro, that's who he was the lead of. If we being 100% honest, it's like, who am I leading? Him. Oh, all right, bet.
That's funny.
So you want to come over for dinner, or how you want to do this? We just kicking it? Want some beers?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. Hey man, appreciate y'all for showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. I need coffee.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. You know how to spell it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. Me and Pat will be back. I think we're actually planning on coming back later today with with the live for Media Day. So guys, be tuned in for that. But for Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. It's been Locked On Bulls, and we out of here. Peace, y'all.
Peace.